Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
The team that's in the thick of things right now, coming down the stretch, only a couple games left.
I'll be there tonight.
Houston in town for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are trying to lock up the 4 seed. I believe they got to play the Knicks still this coming Friday. So a big game at home there for the Cavaliers to try to. I think their magic number right now to get a playoff spot. And when people are saying magic number for a playoff spot, I'm believing that is top 6. To get that top 4, to get that home playoff series in round 1, a little bit more work to do. Who knows? It could be the Knicks. It could be the Heat. It could be the Nets, who we just faced and beat twice in Brooklyn. What an epic ending to that one. Who had Isaac Okoro on their bingo card getting the game winner?
Like I said, neither one of us are betting people on this show. But I wonder what the odds were if you called that, like, who's going to hit a game-winning shot at the end of the game. Like, oh, my God, Isaac Okoro? I bet they don't even give you those odds. It would be so high.
If someone bet on that, I mean, they had to have.
If anyone bet on it, it would parlay Paul.
Probably. Yeah. Someone like that, Chris Oldak of ESPN Cleveland, really big show producer, and co-host of Paul and Paulus on Saturdays. We'll give him a little bit of plugs here on the show. Someone like that would probably make that kind of a bet, and boy, would you feel so good if you hit that. Donovan Mitchell, of course, missing missed the second free throw. Jan and I almost thought that he did it on purpose, like knowing he could get off the line and then collect it. But he has been leaving free throws a little short recently. But this team it looks like they're finding something down the stretch. And really the person that's finding something that was always going to be the biggest key to all of this, Evan Mobley. And he's only in his second year. He's going to keep getting better. But he's becoming, as much as people questioned him early on, like, oh, is this a sophomore slump? Like, he's not playing that well. He was the best player on the floor in the second Brooklyn game and has been one of the better players on the floor for this team, probably better than even Darius Garland, who's been struggling with his shot a bit. Evan Mobley has been that guy for this Cavaliers team to go alongside Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, I totally agree. Like, everyone was so worried about him taking the jump. They're like, oh, he didn't take the jump. He did it midway through the season and just kept going and going. It's not a huge jump, but he slowly got better. Like, this guy's going to win Defensive Player of the Year one day. Like, he'll probably win multiple Defensive Players of the Year. Like, his defense is absolutely insane. But you're seeing him be a lot more aggressive towards that hoop, and that's what I've been wanting to see. Another player, though, I'd like to hit on that's really stepped it up is Karis LeVert. Got to give it to him. Like, his defense has been phenomenal. But offensively, it's like he's finally starting to find his role. And if he plays like that, Evan Mobley's playing like that, you get what you're going to get from Donovan Mitchell, and Garland gets back to form. This is a team no one wants to play in the playoffs, I'll tell you that much.
Karis LeVert's a guy that a lot of people have talked about, and especially around trade deadline time, like, oh, is he the biggest asset that we have to trade away? Other than Kevin Love at that time, Karis LeVert was that because, oh, well, he's not doing what we thought he would do. And it had only been a year, really, for him to try to get in with this team. And I think Karis LeVert is one of those good examples to go back and look at when you make a trade and things maybe don't work out right away, but they're not an issue for your team, meaning off the court. Bad for the culture that you're trying to build. When they're a part of that and they're doing something well for you on the defensive end, you gotta stick with it because you see flashes. We saw flashes earlier this year, scoring 40 in the Garden against Boston. He's had a couple other offensive outputs, but defensively, he has been one of their stalwarts. And a defensive-minded team, he's one of those standouts. I know Isaac Okoro is known for his defense. You give him credit for if we're going to give him credit for the amount of work he's put in on his three-point shot. Isaac Okoro and Lamar Stevens are two guys that are going to be left alone in the corner, especially when teams have a chance to get into a playoff series against the Cavs. Until they start making that consistently, one game winner is not going to change other teams' mentalities. No. It wouldn't change a guy like LeBron's mentality. He's the one that knows about everybody, knows about every team, has scouting reports down to a T, And the advantage of a playoff series is you see the team at least 4 times, if not more, in a best-of-7 series. So teams are going to leave them wide open in the corner until they start knocking that down consistently. Isaac Okoro has started to do that on a more consistent basis, and that's why he's out there on the floor in those crunch time moments when you still need an offensive possession. He's on the floor during that because, they want defense if Donovan Mitchell hits and whatever the Nets are able to get off in that final couple seconds of that game with Mitchell at the free throw line. But being trusted in those kind of moments and having the trust of your teammates, Karis LeVert making that cross-court pass to Isaac to hit that down. And then Karis LeVert having the eyesight to see that, impacting the game offensively as much as he is defensively. He is a talented player that I think should be a part of what the Cavs are doing. Now, if he's in the future down the line, then we're not going to get into a whole lot. If he's a piece that brings in a bigger piece, okay, we'll touch on that then. But Karis LeVert is a big piece to this team right now, a big part of what they're doing, and being a team that is one of those squads playing their best basketball going into the playoffs.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm so excited for them to get in this playoff run, Kevin. I don't know what your expectations are. When I'm done, love to hear them, but I'm so glad that they're locking up the 4 seed because home court for this team is very, very, very important. And if we match up with the Knicks, or is it Brooklyn was the other one that possibly we might go against?
I mean, I would say that probably the Heat have a better chance. That's what, ESPN...
Of the 3, I would rather not play the Heat because they have the playoff experience. They don't scare me by any means. I still think we'd beat them. Yeah,
people scoff at the whole Heat culture thing, but there's a real essence to that. It's not just hearsay or cliche. Like, Heat culture is what you just said.
It's effort.
It's effort nonstop. It's playoff experience
in the playoffs.
It doesn't matter who they have on that squad.
Heat culture is just the Pat Riley way. Like that's what it is. But yeah, I'd rather not see him. But I see us definitely winning a first round playoff series, and who knows in the second round. Like we haven't seen what this team does when, like you said, you go up against someone day after day after day, and Donovan Mitchell's got a proven track record in the playoffs already. Mm-hmm. Evan Mobley keeps getting better. Karis LeVert's finding his way. Isaac Okoro's hitting game winners. Like, let's go, dude. I'm ready.
I'm absolutely ready for playoff basketball. And
are you bored with the regular season yet?
No.
I'm not bored, but I just want the playoffs to start. I can't wait for them.
I have not watched as much, I've tried to keep track. I get the updates. I try to tune into a little bit of the radio broadcast as I can, but I haven't watched as much NBA basketball this season as I usually do and as much as I would like. But that's not because I'm bored of the regular season. It's
because you're a slightly busy guy these days.
Slightly busy guy.
Just a little
these kind of days, and only going to get busier as the next month ticks away before Lincoln Alexander shows up in the world.
How about you, Peter? How are you feeling about your Cavs getting in these playoffs?
I'm actually really looking forward to it, and I hope I can actually see some of it. So
yeah,
I mean that's one of the problems is even when it's on NBA TV, it's blacked out in the area. So we're
you can get the Bally's going.
Nope.
Oh,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
No, I have a different beef. You have no idea what with them right now.
Oh boy. Well, we can touch on that as we go. You mentioned expectations for the playoffs. I mean, they have to at least win one playoff series. I think that they're at that level. Not just getting the playoff series experience. I think we're kind of past that point. It's the next step, winning one playoff series, and really making a bit of noise in these playoffs. Whether that run ends in the second round or more, whatever that might be, this team at least needs to win one playoff series. You need to take advantage of the home court advantage if you're able to get that. They're 47-28 right now, almost 20 games over 500, 5 games ahead of the Knicks for the 5 seed. As I look at these standings right now, the Heat are a game and a half behind the Knicks for the 5. The Nets are 2 games back and only a half game back behind the Heat for the number 6 seed. So tightly contested. I know it's tightly contested out west as well. At one point, the 6th through the 13th seed or the bottom part of the West standings were all within like 3 games of each
Who
other.
cares? They're all going to lose soon anyways and be gone.
I
They're all
know,
a bunch of bums.
But the East is definitely the more dominant
Oh, for
conference.
But there's still, dude.
But the
I
competition has been a lot. It's not just teams running away with it.
Are any of these
this year.
teams like the Warriors were in the past, where there's 73 teams, or all those other teams looking at the Cavs when LeBron was here? There's no team I don't see a Michael Jordan Bulls standing in our way. There's no super team out there that's just like,
No.
well, they're in trouble. The Suns, I thought, were. They became one. When they got Durant, I was like, ooh, they're tough.
But
like
he's always
gonna-
hurt.
Exactly. Where's he at right now?
He's hurt.
Oh, big surprise.
I mean, as much as
He's Mr. Glass. That's just what it is.
as much of an accident as it was, like he's still hurt again, and he's
And
not.
the best availability,
Is your availability?
he's not available. So if he comes back and somehow he's healthy, he is one of those great players. You could just plug and play him on any team because the way he plays, he's a stretch 4, and he could play defense. He can pass. He can bring it up. He can shoot. He does everything. You can plug him right in, and that's what scared me about that team because Devin Booker's the truth. But here's the other problem with them is CP3. Is he going to stay healthy? So you got 2 questionables there. So
Yeah.
even this super team that I could see forming is questionable. And then the Warriors in the West, they're probably the other strong team. They're questionable. And we all know that the Denver Nuggets are going to choke eventually in the playoffs because that's what they do.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see Jokic up for another MVP. I think 3rd straight could possibly be this season. But hey,
He ain't the MVP. He's a stat stuffer.
But if you're an MVP, you ultimately help your team get it done. And LeBron had to go through a few years where he didn't, but he got it done. Other players in the history of this game have gone through the same thing. Jokic and the Nuggets, if they're going to do it, they got to do it, and they got to take advantage of being one of the better teams in the West this season. Memphis, that's a good young squad, but all the issues off the court. It's going to be maybe one of the more, we'll see how the games play out, but maybe one of the more compelling NBA playoff runs, as long as it goes, but maybe one of the more compelling runs of playoff basketball in the NBA we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I liken this playoff just like the college right now, where it's like no one has any idea who's going to win this. All number 4s all number 1s are gone, and it's so close. All the teams are closer than what people think.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing in the NBA this year. Like Cavs, I think could beat any of these teams in game of 7, but 76ers are the one team that I would be nervous about, to be honest with you.
Enjoy it, Cleveland. Playoff basketball is coming back to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio.